Good morning, everybody. It's Barb Pitcock with No Guts, No Story, and it's Father's Day weekend. So for all of you that are fathers, I want to wish you a very happy Father's Day. Hopefully you are surrounded by a whole bunch of people that you can celebrate with. Holidays are kind of icky because for some people they're amazing, and for people where it's not an amazing situation, I think sometimes it just amplifies everything that might be negative in their life. So I want to let you all know that this is not a topic today about Father's Day. So don't worry. I know that could be controversial for all, but here at this house, we have a lot to celebrate on Father's Day. I'm super excited about what I got Dave for Father's Day, and I know that the kids are too. But if you are not near your father or you are not celebrating Father's Day, just know this is not a Father's Day message. I want to talk to you today about your own goals and dreams and how to keep yourself eager and excited and just feeling really good about your future. I don't know how many of you are reading a good book or listening to something good. This morning I woke up and I always try to make myself listen to something good, especially on a Saturday morning, because what goes in has to come out, right? And for some of us, what's been going in all week might not be what you want to come out all over, branding who you are, what you are, how you feel. So this morning, I listened to Jim Rohn. And it's crazy because Jim Rohn is an older philosopher. He's passed away now, but we had an amazing opportunity to go see him live and took our children and actually about 16 or 17 of us, all of our employees at the office at the time. It was amazing. And I still have all the journals. I keep them right here. If you can see all these amazing journals right here. These are all of the journals of my children and 4 days with Jim Rohn. And when I look back on these journals, wow, like if my house was on fire, I would be grabbing these because there was so much in there that was so good. And yet it's so hard to get people to just pick up even a $5 book just to go and grab anything that they could put in their mind that might be a little bit good, because people love to tune in and listen to anything that is juicy and bad and negative. And I mean, it seems like that's the way that people are pulled. It's hard to make yourself go sit down, read a good book, open up the Bible, get out your journal, get out your goal, notebook. And the crazy thing is, once you do it, it's hard to not do it. But getting started is the hardest part. Jim Rohn was talking today about how people come to this country, and you know that this was an older recording. He was talking about people who come to this country and they weren't born here, and it wasn't that they lived here, it wasn't that they were brought up here, but they come here, and because of the opportunity in America, they pass all of the Americans. And he said, you look at what it takes, the sacrifice, the fight, what it takes for them to get to our great country, and then the success that they have, what's the difference? And the word that he used was eager. And I think any of us can implement this. He said they are eager like a little kid for his birthday party. So it's a little kid's birthday party. What are they eager for? Presents, family, cake, feeling like they're the most important thing in the world, a celebration of them, a song sang to them, right? It's the way that it makes them feel. And he said adults should be just as eager because they had another birthday. But the reason why you're not is because your candles outweigh your accomplishments. And I was like, wow, I wrote that down. He said, if we want to live a better life, if we want to live, have a better family relationship, if we want to make more money, if we want to be happier, then we have to have an eager desire. You can't just wish that your kids were better. You can't just wish that your days were happier. You can't just wish that you had more money in your checking account. You can't just wish that relationships were healthier. You have to be eager with a desire, like you need it, because every month we get exactly what we need and never a penny more, right? If you need to stay alive, you're fighting for your life, you're going to be very eager for that. If you just wish that you would get well, you're probably not going to get well. And this is the big difference, is the wish and the eager desire for things to be different. And when you have that eager desire, I will tell you, if it was easy, everybody would do it. But the reality is most people on this planet struggle. Most people struggle. Most people barely get by. Most people have a lot of unfortunate things happening in their life, and that's what they focus on. Then there's a very small percentage has nothing to do with all of their upbringing or honestly, some of the most successful people that I look at, their dad was in prison, their parents abandoned them on a warehouse floor, and they were adopted. I mean, I look at all of my mentors that are the most successful people out there. The first speaker we ever hired to speak at a company that we owned in 2006, it was $35,000 for an hour. True story. His name was Desi Williamson. He was my favorite author at the time, and he was raised in a home with 7 brothers and sisters, some dead, some in prison, some on the streets, some in gangs. He ran for his life through a screen door in one of the chapters to his grandmother's house to get away from the home he was being raised in with his mom, where everybody was a drug addict. And he talked about being eager to have more. And listening to his story and reading his book, there's a reason why he broke out of that situation and became more, because he had an eager desire. And you look at so many people and their stories, Holocaust survivors, people who have had great success in the music industry. You know, Dave and I, we watched, oh my gosh, now the name of the Rocket Man. The name of the movie left me. We watched Rocket Man one day. We had been both traveling, and Dave's like, I watched this movie on a plane, and I was literally sitting on the plane crying in front of everybody on the plane. And, you know, it's a very emotional story because you don't really know what it takes to make it until you watch somebody's story. But that eager desire, that is the secret. And a lot of people that you see that are incredibly successful. Lately, my kids have been talking to me about the documentary of Justin Bieber. Well, Justin Bieber was the youngest kid ever to have so much success, so much fame, so much fortune. I mean, he was barely a teenager, and yet there was no happiness, right? So then they turned to, let's medicate, right? Let's medicate. And people will do whatever they have to do to feel that happiness. But the story of Justin Bieber, and if you go watch the documentary, you won't believe it, and his struggle through adversity to become what he is today, actually his story of overcoming addiction is probably going to impact more people than the music that he made. But nobody hears that story. All they see is the fame and the fortune. So Jim Rohn talks about how most people struggle and why they don't have success, and only a small percentage of people that do. And it's not luck. It's not luck. None of it has to do with luck. It's the power to focus on your dream. Now, on my wall and all over cluttered in my office is pictures. I ran my printer out of ink yesterday. My daughter was trying to print one thing last night for Father's Day, and she's like, why are there 40 pictures coming out? I printed this. I made it my screensaver. I have it on my wall. I look at it every single day. Yesterday, it was decent. It was nice. There was rain. It was wonderful. I love rainy days. But the days before that, Kansas in the summer, oh my goodness. It probably would remind you of like an Alaskan winter if you're a person that doesn't like cold, because the allergies, the 80-mile-an-hour gust of wind. If you lived on the coast, they would say a hurricane was coming. But if you live in Kansas, it's just a normal summer day in Kansas. And I visualize where I could be instead of focusing on the yuckiness of a Kansas summer. So yesterday, I printed out, this stupid pandemic thing is ruining all the plans on my dream board, but I'm not letting that make me upset. Yesterday, I printed this out. It's a lake home right near where my daughter lives that you can rent on 4th of July for $2,500. Now that's a night. $2,500 a night. But what I would give to have all of my kids in one house on the lake with a dock, a pool, a hot tub, just chilling on the water, right? So I'll pay a top price if you have a lake home on the water for 4th of July that you want to rent out. However, she can't leave the state of Oklahoma, for God's sakes. Don't even get me started on that. So we're going to drive there today so that we can see her in the midst of this chaos. But what I wanted to focus on is your dreams and goals and how you can focus on them to the point that you will be successful. So it's easy to get distracted, isn't it? Because there's a lot of things going on that can bump you off course. And when your expectations are really high, trust me, your disappointments will be really high because things in life have a tendency to not happen. People have a tendency to not show up. Everything that can go wrong usually does try to go wrong. And somehow you just have to roll with the punches, staying focused on your ideal goal. And your ideal goal is what you want it to be like, right? So there is an inner idea that you have. There's something that you've wanted, something that you desire. Maybe you've said, that you want to be financially free. You want to retire early. You want to quit one of your 2 jobs. You want to pay off your credit card debt, whatever it is. You have to promise yourself that you will not give up. You will read more. You will learn more. You will go to more seminars. You will plug into more YouTube videos. You will set your goals higher. You will keep trying. You will keep working and just not give up, because until you get to where you want to be, if that's your ideal goal, you're never going to be happy until you get there. But you do need to be grateful during the journey. So I might say, I can't believe that we live in the middle of Kansas and we're so far from all of our children, and the wind is blowing and it's hot and the sump pump went out and the dogs are going crazy, or, I could say whatever about my current situation when I'm sitting in a room thinking about the current situation. But if I can project where I want to be, it feels so good to be retired on a lake. It feels so good to be surrounded by all my kids and grandkids. It feels so good to be completely debt-free or out of a job or whatever you visualize. Then your frequency raises. Your frequency raises because you're thinking about where you want to be instead of thinking about your current situation. Maybe it's your ideal weight. So success is not going to attack you, right? I can say, I wish my shorts didn't look like a roll of croissants busting out of the package. But if I want to go eat a Heath Bar Blizzard at Dairy Queen every time I leave Hays, Kansas, then I have to decide, do I really have a desire to have my shorts fit better, or do I have a desire to eat my favorite foods? Because discipline, simple disciplines repeated every single day is what gets you from where you are right now to where you want to be. And I have practiced this ever since 1996. And people might say, oh, they just get lucky. Everything they touch turns to gold. They're just fortunate. Someone told one of my kids, yeah, they just scammed their way to the top. And I was cracking up. I was just thinking, scammed their way to the top. That is mediocre at best talking, right? If you open the book of, let's see, which book am I? The Magic of Thinking Big. Page number 256. I used to have it marked in my first network marketing company. I was 18 years old. Everybody talking crap, right? Everybody talking smack. And she's selling soap. She's doing this. She's doing that. On page 256, it said, anyone who will ever cut you down. Think about this when you're talking. Anyone who ever cuts other people down will never be anything more than mediocre at best. So I quit cutting people down because I thought to myself, those people look so stupid when they do that to me. I don't want to be that kind of a person. Anyone that's trying to steal your dream, anyone that's trying to cut you down, anyone that talks smack about what you're doing is mediocre at best, because successful people discuss business ideas. Successful people discuss the next goal that they're working on. Successful people plan their dream home, plan their investment portfolio, plan their next vacation with all their business friends or their family. They don't sit around and talk about other people. They don't have time for that because they've got so many ideal goals there on their desire sheet. That's the only thing that they're focused on. Now, on my wall, it's covered. It is covered, and I want to help you with these things. Believe it or not, I think it's my dad that taught me this. And I'm not real close to my dad. We've talked one time in the last 18 months. He called me last week on Friday. Dave and I were driving home. We even had Lola in the car seat, and usually it would have been very chaotic in the car. And my dad called me and we talked for 80 miles just about amazing stuff. And at the end of that day, I seriously wanted to post, today's the best day ever. I just talked to my dad for an hour and a half because that doesn't usually happen. But when my dad was around and in my life, the one thing that we did every single Sunday. Now, just imagine this. Every weekend we worked, we cut firewood, we went and ran the grocery store that they own 20 miles from here. I think I was 12 years old, counting change and typing in. There was no scanner. You had to type in the amount on every grocery can. And we had a marking gun. We would mark everything. You know, my parents had a grocery store. They had rental properties, dozens of rental properties. So on the weekends, we would be cleaning out someone's trailer house that left their pet in there and all their kids' diapers and gross food in the refrigerator. Like, that was my job. I would be the girl cleaning out the refrigerator. I remember one time, the sickest I ever got, I grabbed a jug of what I thought was apple juice and drank oven cleaner because my mom would buy it in bulk and put it in jugs to clean all the rental properties. That's how we grew up. We mowed all the yards of the rental properties. We cut all the firewood to sell to people in town. I remember there were old brick outhouses all around, you know, old schoolhouses and old, on the highways, there were old brick outhouses. Now, I'm 50 years old, so some of you will never remember seeing any of these. But my mom and dad and I and all my siblings had sledgehammers, and we tore them down. My dad had chisels. We chipped off the concrete, and we reused that brick to build the front entrance of our beautiful home that my mom and dad were renovating. It was at the end of a really beautiful area, but it was the ugliest house on the block because they knew, buy the ugliest house on the block in the best neighborhood, you're going to what? Double your investment. So growing up, it's not like I didn't learn amazing things from my dad. He just disappeared out of my life for a while. But those things that I learned growing up is the foundation that makes me think now it's the weekend. I mean, we never sat around on the weekend and watched the Chiefs play. Occasionally, we would go to the lake. And if we went to the lake, it was a staycation because it was 10 minutes from us. And we had 5 of us in a motorhome, and I was the nanny. So work was just a normal thing. But I can remember them getting this newspaper called the Salina Journal. And my mom will laugh if she's watching this. We would drive 80 miles to Salina, Kansas. That's the closest town with real stores and stuff. And we would go there and we would read the Salina Journal. And anybody that was selling something cheap, my dad would go there and he would negotiate on the price. It could be jet skis. It could be a pontoon boat. But if it needed work, we would bring it home, fix it up, and sell it. And Jim Rohn, I think this is why I love his teachings. He says, teach a kid to buy a bike and rent it out. Teach a kid that he can take his wagon, walk around the block, and sell something and make some money. Well, one time, my sister and I were thinking, how can we make some money this weekend? My mom and dad had bought all this fruit from the Boy Scouts or something. We loaded up the wagon at my grandma's house, walked around the block, and we sold every bit of fruit out of the refrigerator, probably dirt cheap. But we were so excited that we had made some money. So I really believe that somewhere deep inside of me, the lesson that I learned growing up was hard work and a desire for more, just wanting more out of life. Dave and I on our first date, he wasn't a father yet. It was just me and him, and that didn't last very long. We had 3 babies in the first 4 years we were together, 4.5, but we were in Kansas City. And I remember I had a little red LeBaron convertible I had bought with my own money. I had a little salon and I owned my own dance school, and I was 20 years old. So I went and I picked him up at his Uncle Art's house, and he said, what do you want to do? And I remember we put the top down and I said, I want to go drive in the nice neighborhoods. And I remember Dave thinking, like, we're going to get shot. Why does she have the top down on her car driving through the neighborhoods? But I can remember driving through Parkville, Missouri, Riss Lake, looking at the beautiful homes on the lake, the columns on the front of the porches, the landscaping, the lighting, the dock out back. And I can remember Dave's dream was to ride bulls professionally. And I always used to joke and say he wanted a double wide trailer with the polyester curtains and the redwood deck. And I was trying to figure out how to put big lions at the end of the driveway some huge white columns and, backlight that baby. I mean, we always had dreams and goals, but we didn't always have the vehicle to make them happen. And I want to tell you the one thing that if I was making a tribute to the one thing that my husband taught our children growing up, it was to define your goals and dreams and develop a burning desire for their achievement and never give up until you got it. Never give up. Callie said the other day, she goes, anybody can be a father. Like, you can accidentally be a father, but it takes somebody really special that is selfless to be a good dad. She said, I can remember growing up, I wanted to be a veterinarian, and Dad went and got all the stuff so that I could raise quail. And we had the incubator and we were watching the quail hatch out of the eggs. And the next thing I knew, I got home from school, maybe all of kindergarten, and she said there were feathers everywhere because the farm cats and dogs got into the quail pen and killed every single bird that they were raising. And she's like, I remember I wanted to have ponies. And the next thing I knew, Dad was building a fence and we were getting some ponies. Chance wanted to play baseball. The next thing I knew, Dad got a pitching machine and we were out front and Mom was shagging balls and Brooklyn was shagging balls and Callie was right there with Chance because she wanted to play baseball too. But then somebody called Chance to be in kids wrestling. And Dave was, a state qualifier in school and he knew how to wrestle. And the next thing he knew, Chance wasn't only going to kids club wrestling, but Dave was volunteering to coach at kids club wrestling. Now, let me tell you guys, we had lots of businesses. We had lots of money to be made, lots of bills to be paid, and lots of stress going on at home. But when Dave became a dad, it wasn't about Dave anymore. It was complete focus on something that was so much bigger than yourself. And not everybody has that growing up. I can remember playing softball and quitting every year because my mom and dad weren't in the stands. I can remember, Dave says his favorite story is that I bought myself a mitt at a garage sale. And Kelly Pope's dad was my coach. And our team was purple. It was Union Central Life Insurance. And I lived at the end of their block. They lived in the beautiful homes. We lived at the end of the block on the corner house I talked about. And he would always pick me up. Come to softball practice. We'll help you. And I had 4 little brothers and sisters at home. So many times my little sister Lori was in the car, his big, huge Cadillac or Lincoln. And then she would watch the little kids while I would try to learn how to play softball. I sucked at it. I sucked at every sport I ever went out for. I wanted to be good, but what does it take? What does it take? It's not luck that makes you successful. It's a constant focus and a burning desire to be good at something. And I didn't have the time to put into it. I definitely had a lot of other distractions, and I could have been good at softball, but I wasn't. Because what I spent my days doing over and over and over again is what I became really good at. I was watching kids. I was folding clothes. I was doing laundry. I was washing dishes. I was cooking meals, right? And I was learning life principles that would serve me a whole lot longer than throwing or shagging a ball. But if you've had the luxury of parents that were there with you at sports and they were encouraging you and they were building you up and 100% focused on your goals and dreams, that's a luxury. You're fortunate. But what do you learn? What do you learn? Because it doesn't matter if it's sports or life or what it is. There's winners and losers in life. And in sports, somebody always has to lose. There's always a winner and a loser. But in life, it's different. It's your choice. You don't have to. You don't have to blame the people that did you wrong, took your business, took your investments. You don't have to blame the economy. You don't have to blame the government. You don't have to blame that you came here from, wherever and you don't speak English. Like, you can find people who have been through way more than you or I have been through, and they've succeeded. And it's a fuzzy future that gives you little power. It's a fuzzy dream, a fuzzy vision where you're like, not real sure about this relationship, so you don't put in the effort. Not real sure about this location, so you don't put in the focus. Not real sure about this company you join, so you never really sell out. not real sure about this mom and dad thing. So next thing you know, you're not in the picture. You know, when you're really focused in and dialed in on what success means to you, you will get it. And I know a lot of people who have success, but they don't really have success. They have all the money, they have the business, they have the family, they have the fortune, they even have the fame, but they're not happy. They're not happy. And success is not measured by how much money's in my account. I was happier when I was in Cody, Wyoming at the food pantry, in love with Dave Pitcock, couldn't wait for my future and my dreams and my desires than I was 5 years ago, 6 years ago, in a company making 1.2 million a year, hating my life every single day. There's a big difference in fortune and wealth and success and happiness. So I want to help you dial this in. An inner idea that you have that's followed by the courage, the focus, the discipline, that every single day, I'm not going to stop until I get this. That's when you're truly going to feel like you're successful. And I would ask you, what have you done today that makes today successful? If you're a homemaker, you love that your house is in order. You love that the meals were cooked. You love that all the dishes were done. All the children ate. It was an amazing day because you did what it took for your ideal goal and dream to be a success. If you're in corporate America, it's about the deal that you closed. It's about the contract that you wrote. It's about the promotion that you got. It's about the recognition plaque on your wall. That's what makes you successful. If you're in direct sales like I am, you're looking at the back office and you're saying, wow, we had an amazing month. I mean, I'm looking at this month compared to last month in my own company, and I'm saying, wow. Today is my partner's birthday. So shout out to Heidi Whitehair. It's her birthday. Happy birthday, Heidi. And yesterday she said, I'm doing the call tomorrow. I don't know why she wanted to do the training call on her birthday. I didn't realize it was her birthday until this morning. But for her, happiness is that other people are having success. That's really what drives her, is building this tribe of other people that are having success. You know, success is when it's a pleasure to do what you're doing. And a lot of times I will message her, hey, can you fix this in the back office? Can you change this auto ship? Can you create this order for me? And she always responds with the same thing. And any of you that know her, it always says, my pleasure. I really believe she just loves what she does every day. They don't let me in that back office. That would definitely not be my pleasure. So you cannot be successful unless you're having pleasure doing what you're doing. So no matter how much money you ever make or what you ever accomplish, at the end of the day, the question is, am I happy? For a little kid at school, they got a star on their test. They got a green card. My kids used to get a green card if it was a really good day for them at school. But as you get older, it's happiness with what you're doing on a daily basis. And if every day you set a goal and you want something and this is your idea for the day and it doesn't happen, and the next day you set a goal and this is your idea for the day and it doesn't happen, pretty soon you're going to realize that what's happening in your surroundings is not congruent with who you are, and you have to make changes. You have to make the boundaries. Like, this is what we're doing, and no outside source is going to stop it. This is where we're going. If there's adversity, we're not going to just stop. We're going to go through it, under it, around it, bust it down, do whatever we have to do to make it happen. And when you're focused on a goal and a dream that you want so bad, you can see it, you can taste it, you can feel it, you can hear the surroundings, the voices, you will get it. Les Brown talks about it. It doesn't matter what comes between you and that. When you think about it every day and it's your magnificent obsession, you will get it. And that is the one thing that I truly believe that my dad put in me, is the desire to dream, and to have the other thing that he put in me is the ability to overcome anything that could go wrong, because everything did, and to know that it's up to me. My mommy and daddy aren't going to get it for me. Definitely not going to happen that way. I had to go for my dreams and learn to sacrifice. Callie said last week, I look at young dads, and there's a big difference in my dad and a lot of other dads. And we were talking about this younger generation. There's a lot of distractions. There's a lot of, there's just I'm going to use the word evil because I really do think there's a lot of evil on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok. There are a million distractions that can suck you the opposite way of what you would think success could look like in a marriage, a relationship, raising children, a business. In business, you're lured every day by something shiny that looks better. The next big thing, the faster magic bullet. And you guys, there is no faster magic bullet. It takes hard work. In relationships, I mean, loyalty and trust. Oh my goodness, thank God I didn't have all the distractions. In high school, I can't even imagine if I was comparing myself to everything on TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and social media because I already had a low self-esteem. See, what you have to do is put on the blinders and think, if it was my last month to live, what would I want it to look like? Yesterday, my daughter and I drive 3 hours every Friday. It's my favorite day of the week with her. We were in the car for 3 hours one way, 3 hours one way home, and she's going through a program that's amazing. Yesterday was her 300th day. Biggest celebration, biggest milestone, most proud moment as a mom I can even think of, honestly. But we were talking, and yesterday during her coaching session, she had to write her eulogy. And she got in the car and she goes, most depressing thing ever, Mom. Why in the hell would anyone ever want to do that? I said, I've done that and I do it often. And I want to tell you why. It makes you think about who you want to be, what you want to be remembered for, the person that you want to be in other people's eyes, what people will say about you when you leave this planet. It makes you want to live because you have something that's so much bigger than you, your bank account, your house, your car, your Gucci, your Rolex, your I don't know, all these worldly possessions. I would rather have the memories of those grandkids last week here at my house than everything on an asset list. Because when I'm gone, nobody here is going to fight over my new Yeezys that my kids bought me. Well, my kids might, but you know what I'm saying is they're going to want the pictures and the memories back. That's what they're going to want back. And so this is a really good exercise, I think. How will you be remembered? What will people say? What kind of a dad are you? I mean, what will your children say that you taught them if you're their father? And that really keeps you in check because once you have kids, it is not about you anymore. It really isn't. There is a selfless side of you, even as a mom. You're constantly feeling their emotions. You're feeling their pain. You're feeling their excitement. You're feeling their joy. And what you sow into them makes such a big difference on the person that they're going to become. So I know it's Father's Day weekend, and I wasn't going to talk about Father's Day. It's actually one of the most depressing days of the year for a lot of people. I've talked to several young kids this week that said, oh my gosh, on Father's Day, I just get drunk so I don't have to think about it. And I thought, how sad is that? You know, a lot of people wish they had their fathers and they're not here anymore. And they would do anything to have one more day with them. There are people that would love to be a father and they're not yet. And so there's a lot of negative emotions with any holiday, whether it's Christmas, Mother's Day, Father's Day, whatever. But what I would say to you is, what can you do to have gratitude and find the good? More than half of my Father's Days, I have not had a father around, but I always find the good. I always find the gratitude. And that's what you have to do. It's a mindset to be happy. And if you have a rough situation in your past and you don't have a dad, then you should practice forgiveness and gratitude for what you learned and the lessons that you have because of it, the strength, the independency, because you didn't have that father figure like so many other people have. You can always find the good and you can always find something to be grateful for. And yesterday, as we were driving home, many of you know my son has a suicide awareness nonprofit. And Brooklyn got a call from a friend that said one of his teammates took his life, took his wife's life, and the little girl was locked in a room and the mom called. And as we were driving, this is what I said. Thank God that is not me. Thank God that I am not that mother. Thank God that is not happening with me and my son. You can always find something to be so grateful for, even on your worst day. When my daughter was talking to her coach yesterday, her coach was talking about a young kid that overdosed. And they were saying, you know, right now with opioid addiction and so many challenges, there are so many kids relapsing and overdosing because of all the current things happening in the world. And I guarantee you, as a mom, you could say, thank goodness I'm not fighting that battle with my kid. I will promise you, you could say that. And if you look around the world, yesterday, I know in the news, there was a girl from K-State that lived in Wichita, and she had been missing for weeks. And all of a sudden, yesterday, you know, in the news, it was talking about they had identified this young girl. You guys, there is so much bad going on in the world that's so much worse than what you're going through. And every single day, we can find gratitude, we can find happiness, we can find pleasure, we can find something to be so thankful for. It's what you choose. Jim Rohn said, it's what you choose. And here's what he said about those few people that don't struggle. He said, there's a small group of people in the world. They have bad stuff happen to them, don't worry. But everything works out for them. That's what you see. Success happens for them. Let me tell you one thing right now. It's not that those people didn't have struggles and adversity. The more successful you are, the bigger the obstacle, the bigger the challenge, the bigger the financial worry, the bigger the responsibility. You're always going to have good and bad. You're always going to have good and bad. I told my son the other day, never let the tail wag the dog. Never let the tail wag the dog. You have got to make a decision which direction you're going to be focused on, where your focus is at, like a pointer in a wheat field chasing a pheasant. What are you going to point out? You can always find the good. You can always change your focus. You can always dial in your guided missile, as my husband calls it, to find what you want. And Dave has always been a reader. He has always taught our children, find a good book, find something good, read it. I woke up this morning and I said, why is this drawer open? He said, oh, last night when you fell asleep, I was digging for a book in that drawer. Wake up, 2 books laying right on the nightstand, because at night when we go to bed and in the morning when we wake up, it takes daily discipline. You don't find me with no KRSL radio on, and I'm definitely not checking Hayes Post, because you know what? The garbage is free in the dumpster if I want to go get it, but I don't need to. And I definitely don't need to go read the news feed. I'm going to hear those current events, just like I heard about all the stuff that I just referred just now. I mean, we're driving to Tulsa. We're driving to Tulsa to see our daughter. And we're waiting because obviously you know what's going on in Tulsa today. But the reality is I can't change what's going on in the world around me. All I can do is not conform and live my life in fear and negative and not do and not go and not dream because of current situations. You guys, there will always be a current situation that's negative. Always. If I look at my journals, there is a up, down, way down, way up. Always after a way down time, there's a way up time. Because in those times of adversity, like a rubber band being pulled, when the adversity is overcome, that rubber band will go further than it ever could have gone. Was there never a resistance? You're in the gym. It's your first week. You're ripping your muscles. You're in pain. You're dying in pain. And then 4 weeks later, you start to see that first ab popping through. Do you know why? Because strength is built during the adversity. Strength is built during the time when you're being pushed and tugged and stretched and tried and tested. And the reality is, if you just don't give up, you'll be there at the top. You'll be the top money earner in your company. You'll be the one who your children say, she is my number one hero. But a lot of people, a lot of people say, this shit sucks, I'm out. I guarantee you, when our dads left, I remember Dave and I, when our kids were all teenagers, looking at each other going, now we know why our dads left, because it was not easy. And it was a whole lot harder when they were young adults and in high school and college than it ever was when we had 3 under the age of 4 in diapers and bottles. But you have to get through it. You have to get through it, right? You can't just say, that's it, it's tough, I give up. You have got to find a way to make it a positive and stay focused on that ideal goal of what you want things to be like. And I'll tell you, if you're a young parent, this would be my advice to you. Make a dream board with your kids. Put Disney on the dream board. Have some goals that you're striving for so you're not thinking about the everyday current situation. Maybe it's a new backyard. Maybe it's a play gym. Maybe it's a new front door. Maybe it's a little kid swimming pool that's $25 at Walmart. Maybe it's that you want to go to the lake for a weekend to go fishing. It doesn't have to be luxury, but you've got to have something that as a family you're looking forward to. Because if there's nothing you're looking forward to and your days are focused on work, laundry, dishes, cooking, sports, school, homework, all of this, it's hard for you to be looking forward to something. When I put that lake house on the dream board to rent on 4th of July, it's because I want one to live in 5 4th of Julys from now, right? We had one when the kids were growing up. We sold it 6 years ago when I told you that everything looked successful, but I was miserable. And I'm going to get another one. You know, failing or having a setback or having a time where you go through adversity doesn't mean it's your final destination, you guys. If you can look up, Les Brown says you can get up. And what you need to do is get your hopes up, get your dream board out. If you don't know how to build a dream board, look at this baby. It covers my entire wall. It has dates, it has flights, it has calendars, it has action steps, it has disciplines, it has how much I need to save every month to pay cash for something. It has all the plans laid out. And if you don't have an ideal plan on your wall, I'm telling you guys, people don't plan to fail. They fail to plan. And then they blame everyone, their upbringing, the bank, the stock market, the government, the president, their neighbor, their boss, the dumb, stupid brother-in-law or sister-in-law. Like, people will blame everything on everyone else until they take full responsibility. This is my life. This is my future. This is my goal. This is my dream. These are my daily disciplines. Get the heck out of my way. And if you want to be a millionaire, I don't care if you're 50, you can still do it. If you want to have children and you're 50, you could still do it. If you want to pay off all of your debt and you're 70, you could still do it, because there are people that will make more money in the next 90 days than they've ever made in their life. And there are the same people who will lose more and find more bad in the next 90 days than they've ever had in their life. It's energy, you guys. It's a frequency that when you get tuned into it, money flows to you, people flow to you, happiness flows to you, health flows to you, good things flow to you. You're printing money in your sleep. You're opening businesses by the month. You're attracting new builders because they can't wait to be around you because you put off this, come and join me. It's fun. It's fabulous. We're making money. We're traveling. It's happy. We all love each other. There's no negative. Of course, everybody wants what you've got. What are you putting out? Because like a magnet, you're either going to attract it or you're going to repel it. And people see it the minute you walk in the room. They see it by the expression on your face. They can tell if you're happy or mad. They know if you're sunshine when you leave the room because the whole damn place brightens up, or if you're sunshine when you enter the room, right? So be the light, you guys. Just be the light wherever you go. People are attracted to that. That's what they want. Be the person that's peddling hope. Be the person that's always talking about the good. And what you focus on will grow. What you focus on will grow. So careful what you focus on. I'm focused on my family. Yes, I know there's a lot of negative in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I know that it was a horrible thing that happened on Juneteenth years ago, right there in that town. And I could either have fear and not go see her, or I could go wrap her in my arms and say, you know what? You know that better days are coming. Good things are going to happen for you. Your store is going to be busy. There's not going to be any looting. You're going to be safe. You're not going to get coronavirus. You're going to be well. Good things are going to happen for you. Or I can let her conform to be like everyone else and live in fear and have anxiety and watch her store not be busy and just be the exact opposite, you guys. We have a choice to make. We have got to find the good no matter what the media does. And we have got to be that source of light and source of all love for every single person every single day. Because when you do, I'm going to tell you, it'll show up in your bank account. It's going to show up in your health. It's going to show up in your business. It's going to show up in your kids and your grandkids, because we're all learning what we live. And remember, all of these behaviors are taught. So hopefully you got something out of today. Happy Father's Day to all of you. Dave and I are going to celebrate. I don't know what we're doing, but we're going to get in the car. We're going to drive. We're going to go see Callie. Go maybe look at some lake homes. Maybe go dream building. Maybe stop off at a casino. Don't worry. I'll have my mask. But you can't just let everything around you stop you and conform to mediocrity. You got to break out of the shell and get out there and go for your dreams and goals. So you guys have an amazing day. Happy Father's Day, everyone. I'll see you next week.